Luke Russert, ladies and gentlemen, the world's most successful intern, isn't he? And, well, here he is. So he's been having some problems. Now, I just want to set this clip up because we all know what's happening. The Bush tax cuts, they want to have them expire. And that's going to affect like 2 or 3% of taxpayers. That's it, 2 or 3% of taxpayers if it expires. And
they don't give the tax break to the wealthy.
Yeah, to the people over $250,000 no longer get the Bush tax cut. The people under $250,000 still do. Okay.
Right.
So what's happening is the Republicans don't want it to go through. They're fighting to keep the Bush tax cuts in place. Now Luke Russert knows this. He gets asked, well, are the Republicans doing what they're doing? And it's nice to watch Luke Russert act like a politician. And here we go.
Luke, 98% of the population earns below $250,000 a year. 97% of small business owners fall under the same $250,000 threshold. So just to be clear, Luke, Speaker Boehner and Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell are fighting for the 2% and the 3%. Is that right?
What they would tell you is
now, is that right? The 2% and the 3%.
What they would tell you is that
are they fighting for the 2% and the 3%? Yes or no?
How about John Boehner and Mitch McConnell? They have to come on your show sometime, Martin.
Luke, they refuse to.
Yeah, you know, I felt like Luke Russert was about to go, hey, Martin, my dad used to host Meet the Press, remember? The hell's wrong with you? Yeah, it's, you know, leave it to a journalist like Luke to always be careful not to piss off a Republican.
That's right. I'm impressed that he can be a reporter and a stenographer at the same time.
Well, what they would say. It's as if, you know, it's not for reporters to say that the 2 or 3% of the population is an extremely small amount of people. That's for mathematicians to decide.
And also the whole, well, come on, you're going to want them on your show sometime, as if that's supposed to be your guiding principle. So don't ever say the truth about them, because if you do say the truth about them, you won't be able to get them on your show and thus have a big get, as they say in the business, that everyone will talk about. Well, and then you can do a softball interview with them.
He's asking him a direct question, Frank. He's saying, well, aren't they what they're doing then affect sticking up for the 2 or 3%, which is just a fact. That's like an objective fact. It's not a spin. That's not your opinion. And all Luke Russert will do is say, well, what they'll tell you, I know what their talking points are. I want you, did you talk to somebody? Did you get an interview? What they're really doing? What they're thinking? Okay, there's more to this. There's more to this. Ready?
They are fighting for, as what they would say, are for the small business job creators who they feel, with folks who could bring in $300,000, could feel pain if this tax cut was to go forward. Now, you bring up an interesting point, is when you press for specifics about which companies would necessarily feel this pain, there have been a number of studies that have been done which the degree of magnitude that would be felt of these companies is not nearly to the scale of what we hear on Capitol Hill. All that being said, though, Martin, is it's a very effective talking point.
Yes, see, that's, again, yes, sure, the stuff that they're saying is easily debunked by studies, and I'll tell you about them if you make me.
But I like to relate their bullshit, though.
Yeah.
That's the easy thing.
Martin, can I just repeat the bullshit talking points from both sides? Isn't that what we're supposed to do, for Christ's sake? I'm trying to make friends. I'm trying to get tickets to a football game.
Nobody told me this would be a full-time job.
Yeah.
I come in, I look at a few websites, I talk to a couple of people, and I give these reports that anyone who read Talking Points Memo or Huffington Post or Politico can tell you, and I just repeat them, and I make 6 figures. So don't step on that. Come on.
But that's the thing that people like, what Luke Russert is doing, he's actually, John Boehner is sticking up for Luke Russert. Because Luke Russert is in that, he's in that 2 or 3%.
Yes, he is.
You don't think he makes $5 grand a week? I do. That's what that is, $250,000 a year, $5 grand a week. I know that. I know a friend.
He doesn't want his taxes taken.
Look, I just like to see Luke Russert back. Well, first of all, there's a little bit more of this. Let's watch.
Talking point, because you can say that you're going to hurt job creators, especially small business ones. That is why folks like Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer have tried to raise that threshold all the way up to $1 million, so the argument is more clear-cut. You could say, look, we want to stop tax hikes for those making below $1 million, but the wealthiest among us have to pay.
Just
it's all talking
Yeah,
points. It's
I know,
all trying to
but-
gauge for the election.
But Luke, just to be clear, both Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi have both said that they support entirely the president's
Correct.
comments today.
Right, because it provides economic certainty for the
Right.
middle class. That's the Democratic argument now.
Now, Luke,
Yeah, so, you know, that thing that I just said, it's not true. And Martin Bashir just pointed it out. What I was actually doing is just repeating the Republican talking points again. That's what I was doing
Right.
again for $250,000 a year. By the way, thank you very much.
And if I don't do that, it's going to be very awkward when I run into them at cocktail parties.
Yeah, how am I going to get along with Boehner and the rest of those
Yeah.
Republicans? I'd like to see what they would tell you. That's his forward report. I'd like to see Luke Russert back in the 70s, right, during the Watergate investigation. Hey, are you telling me that President Nixon abused his power and undermined the Constitution? Well, Nixon would say he's not a crook.
That's what he's saying. It's all about the optics.
It's all about, you know, nothing's really
Yeah.
going to happen for a little while. It's all about talking points. Blah, 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 blah. Luke Russert, the world's most successful intern.
Indeed.